Hello, team Breathe. You guys are back, and many congratulations. Getting rave reviews. So I'll start with actually you all are वो OTT के बच्चन बोलते हैं आप सब OTT के बादशाह. How was it coming back and revisiting these very complex characters? And Naveen, you make your so-called debut here. So what was it like?
It was quite cool actually to be part of this group. Like getting a chance to work with Abhishek, Amit, Sayani. So it was quite cool. And Mayank is the person responsible for getting me on board. I had a great time here playing this part and being on set and exploring breathe through Victor. So it was quite cool actually.
Awesome. And Abhishek, revisiting Avinash hyphen J. आपको कुछ ऐसे characters play करने का मजा आता है क्या? Because I'm just drawing a parallel with Ravan the film, the 10 heads, the 10 vices. Jay is also dealing with a whole lot of things. Like, was it interesting to get into his shoes, these two characters?
Definitely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Why everyone laughing, I want to know.
Because Mayank has a habit of starting every sentence with definitely or absolutely.
Or absolutely.
But listen, Pooja, when I first heard, when Mayank pitched the show to me in 2018, it was one of the very rare times where I agreed to do a project within the first 20 minutes and actually said it to them. As actors, we like to take our time and ruminate over what we're doing. But it was an instant yes, because the character was just so sumptuous. And I don't know many actors who are probably going to say no to playing Avinash or Jay. A lot of fun, I mean, a lot of meat for you to work with. And very rarely do we get an opportunity to play a character like this. So I was very excited to get back into Jay and Avinash's shoes. I was very interested and I was kind of looking forward to seeing where Mayank had taken them now, since this happens a good 3 years after the events of the last season. So I was very keen to know that how has he managed to grow them, evolve them to a certain extent. So I was very excited. Yes, it's daunting because Mayank is a very demanding director in that sense. He's not going to settle for anything substandard. But I think we all look forward to doing hard work and tough work. I think challenges is something that drives us. So I was very excited to get back into the skin of these guys.
Amit, Kabir's journey also we've observed over the various seasons. And I remember you told me during the first one that how it came to you at a time when you were looking for direction. So Kabir and you have also grown over the season. So now how do you perceive the character that he is? Because he has his own complexities. He has his own issues. You've somewhere humanized him also.
Yes, Pooja, I think I remember us talking about it. And in all truth, breathe means a lot. And I never shy away from saying that the series, and what is the series? The series is that we create with these people that you see and the people you can't see.
Yeah.
These people have an impact on my life. I'm very grateful to be a part of this set of people that we go and create breathe. And in terms of Kabir Sawant, just that moment of glory and selfishness, it lasted for me for 3 seconds. That wow, I worked so hard and I've done so much. But after the 4th second, it makes me realize that there's so many attributes, and I think a lot goes to Mayank for writing such a great part. A lot goes to him for directing me so well and being so patient with me. But yeah, Breathe is like the fans of Breathe, the fans that love my character and Breathe, the writing, the direction. There's so many things that come together that make something work, So I'm just blessed and happy that all this has happened.
Absolutely. Sammy playing Shirley. I mean, first tell me, what was it like with all these boys? Yeah. I mean, I have heard all your co-stars says you are actually the buddy on set, the one who's going to be playing, cricket and shooting hoops and all. But here, I mean, playing Shirley with all these men, what was that like?
Great fun, yeah. I think we I had a really good time with everyone this season, especially because I actually, for the first time, shared screen space with Amit. So when you're not on screen, it's always fun. It's all games and fun, and it's all exciting. But the first season, I pretty much just it was just me and Jay's character, a little bit with Nitya and Abha Abha played by Nitya. And in this season, again, of course, Jay and Shirley, and then my interaction with Kabir. So I feel the fun was more on screen because there's so much to learn with the new actors you work with. Every time you work with someone new, there's always something you learn. So yes, it was lots of fun off screen, but I had more fun on screen with all these people, and I hope that Mayank keeps breathing and we go in for a next season.
Definitely.
Where he goes and writes the next season in some mountain, and we come back and have more fun on screen together.
Everyone is asking about the next season, but before that, मुझे एक बात बता, कितनी क्रिकेट खेली गई थी इस सेट पे?
मैंने तो काफी खेली, मयंक के साथ तो नहीं खेली
हाँ,
थी।
मैं नहीं खेल पाया,
मयंक नहीं थे उस दिन, बट क्रिकेट तो हमेशा होती है सेट पे, तो मैंने तो काफी खेली।
Awesome. And Mayank, also, this crime thriller genre is extremely tricky also to keep up the momentum season after season, because it can go either way. What's your process here? Because it's tricky for the creator, it's tricky also for the actors.
Absolutely. I need to start with that. It is tricky. It is tricky. Because when you're creating content close to say 380 minutes, and that is what people expect out of from a show like Breathe, that you're gonna surprise them minute after minute. Get to know the characters. Furthermore, the dark side of them. So to maintain that arc for such a a long period, and I would say 2 seasons, in especially these, if we talk about Breathe Into the Shadows. So that was the biggest challenge, because we've already seen 12 episodes of the last season. You've lived a journey with these characters. You probably know a lot about them by then. And then after 2 years, how do you really take them on a ride and, probably what they expect from the characters, and you don't give them, because that is what I feel is the biggest, requirement. When you come out with a new season, you need to, evolve from where we left. You need to present the audiences, the narrative style, the execution, the way characters are gonna portray. You really need to be on your toes. So yeah, it was very, very exciting, thrilling while we were writing, while we were shooting, and I really hope that now the show is out, audiences are gonna really enjoy this season. Fingers crossed.
No, it's amazing how actually, people get attracted to this crime thriller genre, because in your controlled environment, you get that adrenaline rush watching the other people go through stuff if you were put in a situation like that. So it's kind of interesting, and that I think is the reason that the genre is so successful. Now, Abhishek, coming to you now, it's to everyone, seeing Jay. He's she's a psychiatrist, but also a person dealing with a disorder. Back in the day, it certainly touches upon mental health. I remember Khamoshi, if you remember the film, it's Vahidaji is also a psychiatrist who later is suddenly shown she's not all okay, and it's like, wo pagla gahi. But here, it's very subtly touches upon the surface that here is a person who has a split personality, and people are now openly talking about mental health, and even actors are talking about bipolar disorders. But did you think about it that way when they came to you with this characters?
No. It was just a wonderful character to play. I see the responsibility in what needs to be done and should be done. But I think our primary responsibility to our audience is to give them engaging characters and an entertaining show.
Absolutely.
All sensitivities and responsibilities were kept in mind. Mayank actually, writing both seasons, had a team of about 5 doctors that consulted on the script. to make sure, first and foremost, that there was 100% accuracy. And secondly, that we were being sensitive to not stigmatize, mental health. Mayank's brother-in-law is a psychiatrist, and Aishwarya's best friend is a psychiatrist who I worked with a lot to develop the character. But that isn't the focus. I think as filmmakers, writers, directors, actors, our job is to be sensitive and to be accurate to the characters that we're playing, without trying to typecast anything or take it lightly. But with all due respect, the focus of Breathe isn't on mental health. It's about certain characters and their journeys. But having said that, I think Mayank has been immensely responsible and careful not to misrepresent anything.
Absolutely. So, Mayank, coming to you, how did this thing of aspect of a psychiatrist and a split person and who has a split personality actually come up? Because it's pretty intriguing and engaging. I think we all have a bit of Jay in us, and we could, Avinash Jay. All of us have a certain entity or a personality that wants to get out, but that we're humans.
No, I'll be very frank with you. It all started with, I was interacting with my, a family member who is a psychiatrist in the United States. So yeah, we were just discussing, I had this brief idea, running in my mind, which I wanted to develop. And, when I was discussing, they, shared some interesting material, about patients, who they've counseled and, they've been studying on those cases. So that was very fascinating. And for me, a doctor, a psychiatrist who's across the table sitting, and he's supposed to counsel, and the person who's sitting right there, who's facing that mental condition, and the thought triggered that what if you get to realize that the doctor himself is probably suffering from the same condition, which is the beauty, and that's quite real, because the host really doesn't come to know till you really go and consult another professional. Even the psychiatrists, the doctors on board told us that probably a doctor himself can be a bipolar, but he would not come to know till the time he or she would really go to another doctor. So this was quite an interesting dilemma, for a character to be in. So that's how it all started.
And also, now this is to all the actors, there is always an inner critic that they have them. And on the other hand, you have the critics outside. How do you draw a balance? Abhishek, Amit, Shirley, Sammy, I'm calling you Shirley. Your mom is Shirley ban gayi ho. And Naveen.
Naveen, आप बोलिए पहले.
Okay, मैं actually आप बोलो ना.
So I will answer this. But this takes, I think, years. Personally, I've learned not to criticize myself. But it took years to understand that I will not be judgmental to myself. I will not be a critique to myself. But what I do personally for myself, I live, introspect, reflect my internal thought, my thinking, my thoughts, and I reflect how I'm behaving, how I spoke to a person, how honest, how genuine, or how I was. So I think for me, it took me time in life to realize that I do not need to critique myself. I need to change and work. That comes with self-reflection, introspection, and being aware. And then how aware you become even of your consciousness, you have to learn how to access your consciousness. When it comes to so then once you stop criticizing yourself, you don't worry about the criticism. So even in the aspect of films, that we make a product, you bake a cake, you can criticize it, or you can go and taste the cake, and when you taste a cake, some people will, come back and say, we want more of this cake, it was nice. And some people will say, we don't like this cake, but the cake is baked and it's out. So with due respect and a lot of humility, I really don't care. The whole critique process of life and in my career.
Abhishek, I'll tell you where this question is actually coming from. All of you have also answered, and I have spoken to you about in the past also, with this whole thing happening between OTT and theaters about should the film industry look at the kind of content with rejection. And I know the audience, it seems, are far more know about box office numbers than the trade analysts themselves. So this is where my question is coming up. That burden of criticism, that's way upon, because it just seems people on the spur of the moment just reject the hard work that's put in by just like a tweet or a comment.
That's been the story from the beginning. You make a bad film, it's not going to do well. You make a bad show, nobody's going to watch it. It's as simple as that. Today, people have a platform through which to air that opinion, their own personal soapbox, so to speak. So yeah, that's not an issue. I don't understand this whole debate between theaters and OTT. I mean, something that's going to work in a theater will work on OTT as well. If a film comes in a theater and might not do well, why do you think it's going to work in the OTT? At the end of the day, it's the same people that are watching it. Your audience is your audience. There aren't different people that are, patronizing the different platforms. You've always had to make a good film. If it's not a good film, it's not worked. It's as simple as that. I think as human beings, we're in constant need of understanding or labeling or defining why something is happening or why it's not. And our very being and a large part of our brains evolving from, cavemen to today is because we're inquisitive and we want answers, but this is a very simple answer for me. You make a good film, they will come to the theater and they'll watch it. No amount of publicity, no amount of perception is going to change that. The strongest is still word of mouth. You make a good film, it's going to do well. If the audience doesn't like your film, we have to swallow that bitter pill of acceptance that you didn't make a good film. It's as simple as that.
Also, when you're playing an intense character like the one that you are, how difficult is it to find a balance between your personal experience and your professional? And I know, an actor, the lines do get blurred. So one aspect of playing the characters that was actually very trying for all of you, the actors.
That was very trying?
That weighed upon you, was challenging to get into this.
Well, Avinash and Jay have been two of the most demanding characters that I've played, and very physically exhausting. I remember when we finished filming the last season, I didn't know if I could come back and do it again. It was just very depleting. But I think the last 2 years, lockdown and pandemic kind of helped us recharge and realize what a blessing it is that you get to do this kind of work. But it's been very, very difficult. And like you said, for actors, the lines are always blurred and we live in that gray area. But it's been very, very challenging, very demanding, but very rewarding.
Sammy, Amit, and Naveen. Naveen, actually, this is the first time you were wielding a gun. Yeah, I forgot to ask you that.
This is the first time what?
Gun, no? Gun ke saath?
Oh, yeah, of course. I don't know if you remember, maybe I spoke about it in during the last time when we, spoke about this. I want to hold a gun. I want to play a creepier character. And it actually happened, in a very, during my interviews after aspirants, I mentioned this to a lot of people that I really want to hold a gun, and it actually happened. So it was quite cool. Yeah.
So, Victor ke saath kaise? How is it relating to Victor? Who's like Jay's accomplice of sorts.
No, it was very cool to play someone who is actually like me. So, no, that's
Wow,
true.
that's a revelation.
That's noted.
We're not
We're
shocked.
definitely not having lunch with him anymore.
We're not, but we're not
This is the closest I've been to myself on
We are
camera.
not shocked. We are not shocked.
Really?
Continue.
He is like Victor.
No, it's a joke, obviously. I'm not. You can see all these guys are live, right? So, I'm
नहीं
obviously
कभी
not.
कभी
Like,
बहुत सीरियस हो जाते हैं. With Abhishek तो पता नहीं चलता ना. You can't give a repartee back because his remarks are so witty, and then वो जब कभी सीरियस हो जाते हैं आप सोचते हैं कुछ कह तो नहीं दिया. Did you have any of that moment with him? Sammy, I will ask you.
Do I have any of, sorry?
You know, Abhishek, I always say with his co-stars, you can't give the repartee back to his witty remark, वो repartee नहीं आता. और कभी-कभी इतने वे serious हो जाते हैं, आपको लगता है क्या हो गया?
No, actually, that has happened pretty much with all the promotions we've been doing. Whenever someone comes to interview us, there's always they don't know whether they should take him seriously or not, especially one of the Zoom promotions. He made Breathe into an entirely different story. So it's always fun because it doesn't get monotonous, because you know there's always something exciting that's going to happen when he's around. But yeah, I mean, not that I can think of an instance between us where it's just always fun to be around him.
So talking about character, Shirley के साथ कुछ resonance था? Because I've not seen you play a character like that before.
Gee, so I think the prep for every character is different in a way. On this one, Mayank was very clear with regards to how he wanted to go about it. So that always helps when there is a director guiding you, holding your hand through it. With this one, I feel there was a hardness, a harshness on the exterior because of the profession, because of the circumstances. But there was a lot of vulnerability, there was a lot of softness which Shirley has within. So yes, there is a lot which you can draw from people's lives, your lives. It depends how you want to approach it at that point. But in particular for this character, it was just finding the vulnerability which was inside.
And Amit, I mean, Kabir Sawant, a lot of you in him. I mean, I can safely say.
Pooja, to be honest, it's been 7 years now. I'm so lost.
You're lost in Kabir.
I don't know. I'm just lost. I get very numbed. I don't know what to say. I can definitely share this, that over the years I have learned. I'll admit that when I started acting earlier, Kai Puche, and I was just enjoying the method. I just learned about the method. I had read so many books. I had worked with some big acting coaches, and like you said, blurred lines, thin line, gray, it's all true. And then there was it all came from a good place. It came from hunger, there was so much hunger. There's still so much hunger. So I feel, when I look back, I think I started romanticizing the whole thing, that I'm in a method, and the blurred lines were really blurred when I was living with this character, and sometimes being silly in behavior. But I think over the years now, I'm more balanced. But yeah, especially when you're playing a character like Kabir, when I am playing a character like Kabir, I think I just love this work so much. I love this character so much. I just become him, So I really don't know what to say.
Totally, I get that. अभिषेक, आपके लिए एक सवाल किसी ने भेजा, आपके फैन ने, वो पूछना चाहते हैं केबीसी में आप जय बन के जाएंगे या अविनाश को भेजेंगे?
मैं अभिषेक बन के
So we can expect season 3 soon?
That all depends on Mayank and which mountain he's going to.
Mayank, I have been listening to the interviews. They have made you out to be this strict regimented, वो पुराने time के PT teachers ने.
PT teacher
वो ऐसे ही हैं.
आपको मैं बिहाइंड द सीन फुटेज भेजूंगा, फिर आप जज करिएगा कि कौन स्ट्रिक्ट होता था सेट पे. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
आप प्लीज बता दो.
But Pooja, to answer your question, I I'd like to take the liberty to speak on behalf of the entire team.
You have.
I think everybody who's associated with Breathe would love to come back and reprise their roles for a subsequent season. We have two problems. One, the story has to have very strong justification to move ahead. As you know, the whole Ravan killing aspect was the main foundation laying for season Breathe Into the Shadows happening. How to take that forward, how to maintain the conflict between Kabir and the antagonist. And secondly, the other big thing is if Amazon wants it to carry on. I think the ball is in their court. I'm pretty sure all the people associated with it would love to come back. It's become family, so we enjoy doing this. But obviously it comes down to Amazon and whether they want to put their money where their mouth is.
I'm sure they just need to go on.
Jeff, if you're listening, buddy.
That's it. As I said, the critics की मत सुनिए. आप fans से, आप जनता, normal जनता से पूछिए जो ऐसे critic नहीं है, just go watch shows for basically.
No, we listen to the critics because they're liking it. So let's not put them down. So far, they've been very, very encouraging to Breathe. So we're very happy with them. Thank you, critics.
मैं पढ़ती नहीं हूँ because जो मुझे पसंद आता है वो उनको नहीं पसंद आता, जो उनको पसंद आता मुझे नहीं आता, तो वो मेरा कट है.
ये जीवन है, कोई बात नहीं.
Anyways, thank you very much. So it's 2023 in just a few years. बोल रही हूँ. Time, my bad. So if there is a resolution you could share that your resolution for 2023 is?
I don't keep resolutions because when I was a kid, I never managed to stay true to them. So I just said, forget it. It's pointless.
ठीक है, तो जय अविनाश ने ये बोल दिया. अमित कबीर आप क्या बोलेंगे?
Same. Just carry on. Just carry on.
Okay. Shirley, Sayami, Victor, Naveen.
I'm actually of the same opinion. I don't really have resolutions. Have resolutions monthly, not like shorter spans instead of 12 months. So they're just more doable.
Maybe one more marathon ka 1 kilometer zyada.
No. Right now, I think everybody sitting on this panel is only thinking one thing: that bhaiya, India, kisi bhi tarah jeet jao aaj, please. We want to reach the finals.
Yes.
Absolutely. So on that note, मैं नवीन से नहीं पूछा. नवीन बता दीजिए, आप तो मैनिफेस्ट कर रहे हो, अब तो गन बिल्ड कर दी, अभी नेक्स्ट क्या?
नहीं, मेरा
नेक्स्ट में मारेगा.
नहीं, मेरा resolution हर रोज का यही होता है कि टाइम पे सो जाओ और टाइम पे उठ जाओ.
वो तो करते नहीं हो तुम.
That has been the biggest, that's the most difficult thing for me to achieve, and I really want to achieve it.
But इस बार गन पकड़ी है, अगली बार मारेगा.
हाँ, अभी गन हो गई है तो अभी ये भी हो जाएगा.
मारोगे.
I want to be disciplined like him and her. AB का schedule मुझे पता नहीं है.
नहीं, there is no schedule. I'm like you only.
Oh.
चलो, Mike, Breathe season 3 would be your resolution, right? To start working on the script.
No, before that, his resolution will be to find that spot, that hill station.
That
mountain.
Where you can go right. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys. All the very best. And
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you,
Take
Pooja.
care.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you so much.
Pooja.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you after ages.